because we're entering April, you know that we're finally getting into second quarter of 2025, and you know what that means. TikTok says the clock, and you need to begin to take stock. What's happening? Are you on track? And it's fine if you have a reason or two why you are not doing what you set out to do when the year got started. But hey, do not be deterred. You know, you need to keep your head up and, keep focus. Just keep attention on the goal. 7:37. That's what the time is right now. Citizen FM 93.7. I am Didi, and it's time for us to take a trip around Africa to know what's happening around the continent. So let's begin with this story from Guinea, where there has been a pardon to someone that everyone thinks is guilty. So, the junta leader in Guinea has pardoned former military leader Musa Dadis Camara. Why? They said it's on health grounds, for health reasons. You know that last year he was found guilty by a court, and he was found guilty of a crime against humanity. It was in a 2009 stadium massacre that, he was tried and then he was found guilty. So let me take you back to when the story started. September 28, 2009. Tens of thousands of people gathered in a stadium. They decided to, do a protest or a rally of some sort to press Camara, that's the accused now, to not stand in a presidential election the following year. That was in 2010. Now, when they gathered, sporadically, shootings just started. They just started shooting. Many people were shot, some were stabbed, some were bitten, some were crushed. In fact, it was a stampede. It was to be expected, right? When people were just falling left, right, and center, beside you just see somebody drop dead. They just shoot them, you just die. So people, of course, were scared, and it turned into a stampede. Security forces fired tear gas and charged the stadium. A lot of people could not escape. At least a dozen women were raped by security forces, according to the report. And it was prosecutors that even said this during the trial, that the accused, as Camara, was responsible for the massacre that led to the death of 157 people in the stadium that day during a pro-democracy rally in the capital, Conakry. Fast forward to a few days ago, the junta leader in the country decided to pardon this person who was serving a jail term for, what the court termed a crime on humanity. He was actually sentenced to 20 years in prison for his role in that massacre that particular day. He's 61 years old. He was convicted alongside 7 other military commanders. Anyway, what is news right now is that he's free to go. Yeah, he's free to go. Anyway, the person who just freed him, the military junta, or the junta leader who just, freed him of all charges based on health grounds, is actually someone who seized power himself in 2021, Domboya Madami. He also came into power by, some questioned, process. Anyway, that's what it is right now, all right? He was accused, serving 20-year jail term. Wake up one morning, he's been freed. Why? They say on health grounds. What about the lives of the people that he took? Or the health of other people that he took? Moving on now from there, let's see what is going on in South Africa. So I like the story, right? Why it caught my attention is how that nature is allowed to take care of nature. So you would hear about invasion sometimes, not military invasion. I'm talking about like some pest invasion, and then you'd hear, let's handle it with some pesticide of some sort. No, the smart thing they did in South Africa is bring in weevils from Louisiana, USA, to tackle what they are saying as an aquatic plant species invasion in South Africa. And they're arguing that is hidden beneath South Africa's Hartbeespoort Dam near Johannesburg, an important source of irrigation for nearby farms and a popular recreation site. But the site has now been brought to naught because of the invasion. Salvinia, That's what it's called. And the plant is steadily taking over freshwater bodies in the northern region of the country and is suffocating aquatic life. It's also threatening ecosystems and creeping into neighboring countries like Zimbabwe, Botswana, and Mozambique. Today, the researchers and environmental officials are aiming to fight back with little black beetles called weevils. They are being hurled in the dam so that the weevils and their larvae can munch their way through the salvinia so as to damage the tissue of the salvinia plant until it becomes waterlogged and then it sinks. Smart move, right? Let nature take care of nature. Anyway, this is not just a blind move. There are research that shows that this move has helped in other parts of the world. It effectively controls Salvinia in Florida, USA. So scientists from South Africa and US worked together on a project to gather a starter population in Southern Africa. And so far, so good. They say that these insects were imported from Louisiana, and the reason why they were imported from there is that they are not indigenous to Louisiana. They got this plant as a problematic invasion species, and they've got a very good biocontrol program on the plant. Let's hear what some scientists had to say about it.
These insects were imported from Louisiana. And the reason why we imported them from there is they're not indigenous to Louisiana, but this is Louisiana in the United States. They've got this plant as a problematic invasive species, and they've got a very good biocontrol program on this plant.
And so far, so good. The results have been fantastic. Right. The voice you just heard is of Professor. Give me a minute. Okay. All right. Sorry. I need to get that clearly. That's Professor Julie Coetzee, who is researcher, South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity. Researcher, South African Institute for Aquatic Biodiversity. According to scientists, beetles released at an infested site are able to make themselves at home on the plant that is causing the damage. And what is great is that itself does not cause any, notable damage, and everyone is looking forward to how this would actually pan out, whether or not it will yield the desired result. And of course, yes, it's looking a lot like it will yield the desired result. Let's hear what another researcher had to say.
I would imagine because the quality of the water is so bad that it's pure fertilizer for these invasive species. And so what really happens is it seems to have the effect of it seems to double its mass in about 2 to 4 days.
Can you imagine that?
Which is absolutely insane.
That's just insane. But thankfully, they're able to come up with these, because what this means is that it may not sound like a serious business to you, but do you know what it means to the ecosystem? Do you know what it means to the people that live around these places? Do you know what it even means to food security in these places?
To allow the biological process to take its course, because this is largely, a process of attempting really through this particular process to deal and address the issue of the alien invasive species. So I'll take Prof. Julie's cue on that and say in about a year's time we should be able to start seeing some form of difference.
And so far, so good. I think this was just a step in the right direction. That was the voice of Sello Setlolo, who is Deputy Minister of Water and Sanitation, South Africa. Desperate times, they say, call for desperate measures. I mean, we have to get creative with this. Not every time. There's a what's it called? A pest invasion, or there's a problem, and then you just go all chemicals. Sometimes, bring in, as he said, let nature take care of itself. Development, rural farming communities on the border between southern African countries of Malawi and Zambia, they are trying to, seek damages, and they're also threatening to sue an international animal conservation group over the relocation of more than 260 elephants to their areas. So they were just living on their own, doing their thing. And next thing, a conservation group decided to bring in 260 elephants to their area. And their lawyers have said that was just a move that was ill-planned, Because guess why? At least 17 people have died, and a hundred number of other people have been injured so far. Should we talk about the destruction of crops and of property? Thousands of people are living in fear at the moment. Anyway, British law firm Leyday said that it is representing 10 people living near the Kasungu National Park on the Malawi-Zambia border, and they say that their lives have been ruined by the arrival of the elephants in 2022. Let's start from the very beginning. The truth is that the elephants were not meant to just be thrown into these communities to create mayhem. No, it was intended to be that they be contained in a park. But of course, we're talking about elephants. It's not chickens or something. We're talking about elephants. Arguably the world's largest land animal. It will take more than just wishful thinking to be able to contain them in a park. So the park that was built for them, of course, they broke through, they brought down the fences, and then they have raided nearby scale farming communities in both countries, that is of Malawi and of Zambia. And of course, they're looking for food and water for themselves. But, there's always implication for some of these moves. They've caused death and damage in the wake of their roaming around. There's a local non-profit organization that said that they've recorded more than 11,000 people who had suffered crop damage or property damage, something of some sort. Let's talk about injury too. Death of a family member was also recorded due to elephants, and estimated damages have also been summed up to about millions of dollars. That's according to lawyers of these people. 260 elephants. You need to picture that. I mean, do you even want to picture what it means for just one elephant to be brought into your area because they think that this area is suitable for them? Where were they originally? Where were they moved? Talking about wildlife preservation and conservation. FM 93.7, 7:49 a.m. Just a few more minutes, and we would have to round off on news from across Africa. Then we'd have to switch things up. Top of the hour, 8 o'clock. As we take a drive through Nigeria, let's see what's happening in the papers. But before then, there's news from Sudan, where the army chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan has vowed that he will do everything possible to crush the paramilitary group, the RSF, that's the Rapid Support Forces. And he has said that we're not reconciling. Any talks about reconciliation is not on the table right now. In fact, I think it was BBC that captured it, this story as saying that the RSF chief has said war with the army is not over. No, it's Reuters. Reuters say Sudan's paramilitary RSF chief says that the army, the military, the government's military saying that they're going to do everything to crush the RSF. RSF is also responding by saying that even them too, they need to say it out that the war is not over. Hey, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, he was the one who talked on Sunday that his war against the army of Sudan was not over and that his forces will return to Khartoum despite being largely driven out of the capital so far. Sudan, it's a face-off. It's a face-off because if you remember, the army announced earlier that it had taken control of a major market in Khartoum's twin city, Omdurman. Now, this Omdurman, what is interesting about it is that the RSF had used the area to launch attacks during the ongoing war. And the army also claimed victory over the RSF in Khartoum, stating that they now control most of the capital, including the vital commercial hub of Souk Libya. Matters unfold, we will bring you up to speed with them. Citizen FM 93.7. off with a story we're hearing from DR Congo, Republic of Congo, and China, that they are making moves to strengthen ties between the both countries. So, Foreign Minister of China, Wang Yi, met with the Foreign Minister of DR Congo, Jean-Claude Gakoso, just over the weekend in Beijing, and they pledged to jointly promote the high-quality development of China-Africa cooperation. Yeah, I do know that this is out of context, but conversations right now should border heavily on peace in the area, because you can't even talk about high-quality development if there is no peace. Everything is hinged on peace and stability of a community. Whatever development you're bringing in is still going to be at the mercy of the peace that the people enjoy, because anything can be blown up by whatever. DR Congo is one place that is not exactly enjoying peace right now because of the face-off between the government and M23 rebels. Rwanda has been mentioned repeatedly, how that they're playing a very big role in that fight. They are fueling the M23 rebels, they are funding them, and all whatnot. Anyway, back to the story. The Foreign Minister of China, who is also a member of the Political Bureau of the Communist Party of China Central Committee, said that the bilateral relationship between China and the Republic of Congo had become a model of China-Africa solidarity and cooperation. And he also noted that the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, that's FOCAC, Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. That makes sense, right? FOCAC. Yeah. He said that is the most important platform for China and Africa to unite and to help each other to achieve common development. Anyway, he was also quoted as saying that China was ready to work with the Republic of Congo to implement the outcomes of the Beijing summit of the FOCAC of last year, especially the 10 partnership actions. Sounds really good. Sounds really fantastic. But at the end of the day, remember that all the developments, all the moves, everything that you want to do is still at the mercy of peace and stability within your political geography. That would be your country. So Beijing can do everything that they can, but if DRC is not enjoying peace, you can just set something up now and boom, one day it's just blown up and you start from the very scratch. You just start over. The talks that they're supposed to have, perhaps they should have it already. I know the last one broke down in Luanda, that's in Angola, because they were supposed to have that talk there, but it just didn't happen. Hopefully, the peace that DRC needs will come to it as soon as possible. That's where we round it off today on News Across Africa. Thank you for staying with us. Top of the hour 8, we will be back with headlines from across Nigeria. Here is Yabanga from Mbilia Bell.